Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Rich Perez welcoming you back into another weekly dose of your rundown. Joining with me, as always, my brother from another, my co-host, all the way from the O, Kayson Davis. How you doing, Kay?
I'm doing good, good, good. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. It's crazy last 24 hours, right?
Yeah, yeah. Were you up late last night?
I was up late last night. Just good. I think what kept me up first was the first big news, with the Lakers and everything, and then we had that bombshell of a tweet from Woj and then Shams at like 1 a.m. And we will definitely get into all of those things for sure. But before we get into this massive, extremely crazy NBA trade deadline, we got a massive game going on Sunday. Hope you guys got your snacks and your drinks and people ready. Throw your parties and everything and get ready to go because it's Super Bowl weekend as the Philadelphia Eagles are representing the NFC against the Kansas City Chiefs representing the AFC in the NFL's biggest game of the year. Now, before we get started on this, I want to give major props to our guy Kayson, who straight up called this Super Bowl. Not everybody was in tune with that one, myself included. I didn't have this Super Bowl at all. I'm gonna be honest though, partially part of me not picking the Eagles was because I was straight up hating. And then also, I'm not gonna lie, I thought somewhat the way the game ended up playing out, I thought that was somewhat of a product of Brock Purdy tearing his UCL. But I mean, give us some insight. Like what really how confident were you in that pick?
The Eagles.
Both.
I was pretty confident in both. Obviously, anything can happen in this league, and especially with football. Like I said to you on Twitter, I didn't see those injuries coming, so there's that. So I can't take full credit. But I was pretty confident in both picks. I think the Chiefs, I wasn't 100 as confident in, maybe. But just with the things Joe Burrow and those guys can do, and they had their number. But like I said, I thought they'll come out and be motivated and be ready to go. So I was pretty confident in both picks. But I wasn't like married to them. Anything can happen in this league. There are four great teams. Anything can really happen.
Right, for sure. And that was definitely something to behold. I think probably the best thing here too is you got the number one seed in the NFC going up against the number one seed in the AFC, a young ascending quarterback in Jalen Hurts going up against a guy that really pretty much is the face of the league at this point, at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes could retire right now and he would be in the Hall of Fame. This guy in 5 years has been to 3 Super Bowls. It's insane. It's insanity. He's been in the AFC Championship every game or every year since he's been a starter, and they've hosted every year. They haven't had a road playoff game since he's been there. So I mean, they're pretty much identical in numbers this year as far as offensive yards, touchdowns, things like that, and this is deemed as two things, right? It's the Andy Reid Bowl because Andy Reid used to coach the Philadelphia Eagles and now he's with the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's also the Kelsey Bowl, as you got Travis and Jason Kelsey going against each other in what will be a heck of a game. For me, when I look at this game, I think that this is going to be an entertaining game for sure. I saw one of the players from the 49ers kind of mention when he talked about the Eagles defense. We know how great the Eagles defense is, and what he believes is going to be the Eagles kind of getting exposed a little bit with Kansas City's passing game. Now, I don't know if I want to go that far. I think that, this defense that Philly's trotting out there is elite for sure. I don't think it's an accident that they got here. And, Kansas City's they got a nice offensive line, but not a strong one. And Patrick Mahomes is playing on an injury. And I mean, we're hoping for the best, right? But when I'm looking at this game, I think the defense still wins championships, and that could be the X factor here.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, like you said, defense wins championships. So I think defense is going to be a big part. Uh, yeah, but I think Patrick Mahomes. We talked about him, and a lot of a lot of people talked about him before being like one of the greatest quarterbacks, maybe already, or at least on that trajectory to be there. So with him, you never know what could happen. Obviously, we don't know. Do we know if Kadarius Toney is 100% healthy and good to go? I think he got banged up last game.
They haven't confirmed whether or not he's going to play it, but I know that Cole Hardman isn't expected to play. He's on the IR, which is a big loss for them.
Yeah, so with the weapons out there, obviously those guys will be able to maybe make something happen. But defense will play a big part, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, Kansas City's defense is pretty good too, so it should be a good game.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Aris, what else are we looking forward to? Is it just like we're looking forward to high power offense? I mean, for me, I'm looking forward to that halftime show.
I think we should just be looking forward to a good game. The Eagles obviously been a great team all season, one of the best records in the league. Uh, even though, well, they played well all season, and then obviously we know what Kansas City can do. That they've been basically in the Super Bowl almost every year. If not, they've been in great close games that they lost before getting to the Super Bowl. So I think spirit experience may play a part here. The Chiefs may have a little upper advantage just being here a couple times and kind of knowing what they're getting into a little more. So I think we should just expect a good game on both sides. Just two great teams, two great quarterbacks. So we should expect to see some good things out there. It should be a great Super Bowl. I don't expect no one to get blown out in this one. Obviously, barring any crazy things happening like injuries, like in the last game. So I think we should expect a great Super Bowl, great halftime. Just enjoying some football.
Yeah, 100%. Uh, I think this game's gonna come down to the wire, man. I think that these two teams is evenly matched, and at least on the offensive side of the ball, we're gonna learn a lot more about who Jalen Hurts is as a quarterback. This is the biggest game of his life, and what even more of even what Patrick Mahomes is made of. Andy Reid came out the other day and said Patrick Mahomes is definitely not close to 100%, but he's still been able to make all the throws and do everything that he needs to do for this team to win. So I'm having a little bit of a hard time because of things like that, which is one of the reasons why I didn't pick them against the Bengals during the championship game 2 weeks ago. But I still think, when you've been there, you have that upper hand. And Philly won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but this group is a little different than it was at that time. Obviously, there's guys on this team that were on that Super Bowl team, but you've got a new quarterback, you've got a new head coach, got a bunch of new players in there. These guys are raw to what they're about to face. So for me, I think that defense steps up, and I think that Philly's offense is going to play as well as they can. But I still got to go with experience. And this could be a shootout game, which I'm hoping for because we love offensive games. But my biggest thing is you can't knock coaching. Coaching is always going to be there, and I think Andy Reid's got the upper hand in that. Like I said, Nick Sirianni, this is only his second year as a head coach in this league. Andy Reid has been around a while. He's been to a Super Bowl as the head coach of the Eagles himself. So I'm gonna go Kansas City Chiefs 27-24.
Yeah, I think this one could be a toss up. I'm kind of on the edge too. I think I'm kind of, as much as I probably want to disagree with you, I think I'm on the same boat. I think experience is going to be the difference here. I think I talked about this last week. When it comes to two great teams, two great quarterbacks, it's just what team can get the upper hand just a little bit in the game that's going to make the difference. So I think the difference here would just be Kansas City's experience. Patrick Mahomes has now had 2 weeks to kind of rest, and you hope that he'd be a lot more healthy than he was maybe a few weeks ago. And I just think they kind of been here before. They know what to expect. We've seen that the experience kind of show in situations like this. But obviously anything can happen. I think the Eagles have a great chance. I think it's going to be a close game, like you said. I don't know if I have a score, but I think Kansas City is going to be able to come away, and just the extra little experience is what's going to make the difference towards the end. When it's the fourth quarter, it's a close game. You just got to make that one or two extra plays that's going to make the difference. I think they know the magnitude of the moment, just maybe a little more than maybe the Eagles do, just being here and done it before, and then losing their last one and kind of the way they lost it. I think they'll be motivated to kind of come out and not play around this one, because you know that this may never happen again, or you may get here and you may lose again. Because even a lot of people, even you, thought that they'll be winning 7, 8, 9, 9 of
Yeah.
them right now. And it's been a few years now, and they still kind of only have one. So I think they know how big this moment is, and they're motivated from their past and kind of just what they were supposed to be, or what everyone thought they could be.
Right, right. Just to give you another update, about 22 minutes ago from Ian Rappaport, Chiefs wide receiver Kadarius Toney was upgraded to full participant in practice today, so he's gonna play, which is definitely big for them. Like I said, and Cole Hardman is not going to be playing. He's done for the year, done for the season. That's one of Patrick Mahomes' bigger weapons, but you get a big boost with Tony being able to play, and yeah, so it should be a super exciting game. Um, One last thing on this before we go. Where does Rihanna's halftime show? I know we haven't seen it yet, obviously, but where is she gonna rank amongst the all-time halftime shows? I'm not gonna lie, last year's was great. I think I still got Prince as number one, but last year's might have to be in my top five. Mike was great. 2 years ago was okay. Riri got a chance. Riri got a chance to break into the top five all the time.
Yeah, I believe it. Obviously, people love her music, and I've never seen her in concert, but I'm pretty sure she knows how to put on a show. I think I seen a quote from her. Someone had asked her that the toughest thing right now is trying to cram like 7 to 10 years worth of music into 13 minutes. So I'm pretty sure she'll pick her best songs, and she's like a world superstar. So she's been in these type of moments before. She knows how to be on the big stage and put on a big performance. So I'm pretty sure they've been gearing up to kind of know what they're going to get into, and they're going to make the best out of those 13 minutes. So just knowing her, and knowing her work, and kind of what she's done and the kind of music she's made, and just her character, I think they're planning for something big. And then she has all these years of history to kind of look back on and see, like, hey, this worked, this didn't work, let's try this, and then add her own little flavor to it. So I would have to wait to see it, to see where it's going to be at that, but I think she has a chance to be up there.
Yeah, I'm definitely more excited to kind of see who she brings up there. Is she bringing ASAP Rocky? Is she gonna perform some hits? Is she gonna shock us with some of the people that she brings out there? It's definitely gonna be something to behold. And we're definitely excited for that one. Make sure that you guys are in it. Kay, you got any plans? You just hanging out at the crib Sunday?
I'll be at my sister's house, so nothing too crazy. Just be at my sister's crib watching it. What about yourself?
Got some people coming over. We feel acclimated out here in Texas now, so we gonna have a few people over to catch the game, and should be a good time, man. Hopefully you guys all enjoy it yourselves. But we do gotta move on now, because we said we were gonna get you this preview for the Super Bowl. We're both going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Not too confident, but we gotta do what we gotta do. And let's go ahead and get into some hoops. So, the first domino that I would have to say fell in here. The trade deadline is always a pretty big deal, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I felt like, I don't know how you felt, Kay. I felt like last year's was, it was good, it was still fun, but it was, compared to some other trade deadlines that we have over the years, last year's was kind of a bit lackluster. So coming into this one, I wasn't thinking too much about it. I know Kyrie asked for the trade, and I wasn't too sure if the Nets were going to give it to him. And then if they do give it to him, what do they do with Kevin Durant? What are these other teams going to do? What are the Lakers going to do? What are the Heat going to do? What are, What are the Phoenix Suns going to do? Things like that. You hear all these people's names on trade rumors. And the first huge domino to fall, not even a day after Kyrie Irving asked to be traded, he gets sent to the Dallas Mavericks, sending Spencer Dinwiddie back to Brooklyn along with what was the other player's name? Finney?
Finney, yeah, like that.
Finney, who's having a awesome. Well, Dorian Finney-Smith, who's having an awesome pick, and then they got a first-round pick back as well, and multiple second-round picks. Now, this is pre KD trade, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, if they want to keep KD, because my whole thing was KD can ask for a trade, but KD is locked in for 3 more years, no player option. So you could ask for a trade, but you don't have to give it to him. Not until you get the assets that you want for Kevin Durant. So I'm sitting here and I'm saying, they still got a good team. You lose Kyrie, it's hard for you to say you're going to be a championship contender with just, Kevin Durant and then, what we have of Ben Simmons right now and a bunch of role players, but they still should be pretty good. But then, a lot of other things happen. Kevin Durant, we find out at 1 a.m. is traded to the Phoenix Suns. So we'll dive into that Suns trades in a second. I want to focus more on the Dallas Mavericks Brooklyn trade. A lot of people are going crazy saying that we're going to get to pair Luka Doncic up with Kyrie Irving. I'm here to tell you that it could be fun. It could be fun. I like Jason Kidd as a head coach. I don't know if this is going to work. The goal here is to win a championship. And you and me both have been on this show for a bit over a year, maybe even 2 now. We can all agree Luka Doncic is a phenomenal basketball player. Phenomenal. He was able to will them to the Western Conference Finals last year, where they just kind of ran into a buzzsaw, the Golden State Warriors, and were completely overmatched. Now, for me, what I'm saying here is I have always felt like there's a reason why stars are not lining up to go play with Luka in Dallas. Dallas is an awesome city. I've hung out there a bunch of times. It's a metro city. There's no state income tax. Awesome place to live, right? And, you would say you got a superstar in Luka Doncic there. Why wouldn't it's a win-win? I don't feel like it's a coincidence that guys were not clamoring to go play with Luka in Dallas simply because of the style of play that Luka has. And we've compared it to James Harden in Houston over and over again, where, people want to say, oh, he's the point guard. He's a floor general and whatnot. And we've been here saying, well, he is a passer, but he's not really a pass first guy. He's passing that ball when there isn't an opportunity for him to score anymore. And I'm starting to notice other people kind of allude to it too when they mention that he's passing the ball out when the shot clock is at like 5 seconds. Or, it's about to run out and things like that because he's got that double team. Kyrie is a guy that commands the ball. Now, you're able to make this work because you needed a guy that can run your offense when Luka's off the floor. But you still have to play these guys together for at least 30 minutes or something to the effect of that. And that's where it starts to get troubling of how is this going to work? Is Kyrie going to be okay with Luka's game? Because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see Luka sacrificing his game at all for this. And that's where it kind of gets troubling of how does this work with Kyrie Irving? Now, Mark Cuban is all in on this. They're saying they got the best backcourt in the league. Talent-wise, on paper, it looks great. But when you're running into what the Clippers have just done after today's trade deadline and what the Phoenix Suns have just done and scrappy Golden State Warriors team who's still hanging on, just coming off a championship. The Denver Nuggets and so many other teams that we can continue to name there. How far can you expect this thing to go? Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, depending on where I'm ready to pull it up right now. Depending on where they match up, I could see a first round exit here. Like I really am not, I think it's sexy on paper, but I do not know if this is going to be a championship run for them. Like, I don't know if this pairing is really going to work.
Yeah, I think if you asked me this question yesterday or right after Kyrie played that first game for them, I would have a different answer for you. But after seeing what a lot of teams did today, it's kind of up in the air, and I don't think that's really kind of on them. But a lot of teams got better today, and they lost a lot of defense, given up Vinny Smith and especially Denny Jr. So they need to make up there. They kind of didn't make up there today. So I think it's I don't think that's bad to say to them about them right now, just because how tough the West just got today. So that you can see a first round matchup where they're against Memphis, they're against the Nuggets, they're against Phoenix, they're against other teams that are all championship contenders, and it'll be disappointing for the fact that they didn't get further. But I don't think it'll be a tough road for them to get to the finals. So I can see them. It's one of those things where you can see them making it to the finals, but you also see them losing in the first round. And then seeing what some teams did today, you may see that, oh, I can probably see them losing the first round a little more, and that's just kind of unfortunate. They didn't see what was going to happen today, and maybe they did see something coming with the Kyrie thing. Everyone knew KD was kind of up in the air at the moment, so. Yeah, I think if you ask me then, you ask me now, I kind of have two different opinions. But there's a buyout market. Let's see maybe if they can pick up someone or someone who hasn't been playing yet or someone gets bored out that they can come and help them out a little bit. But I think it's interesting to me because at first I'm like, I don't like it. I don't think it's going to work. But after seeing Kyrie's first game, I'm like, it can work. I think Luka would have to be the one that changes his game a little more than Kyrie. We've seen Kyrie change his game in this type of situation a lot. He has shown us that he kind of doesn't need the ball in his hand 24/7, whether it's playing with Ben Simmons or James Harden or wherever the case is, that he can play that two-guard spot, and he may feel better in that two-guard spot because as good as of a passer that he is, his job or his goal when he goes out there is not really to pass the ball. He's trying to get buckets. So you're telling me if I can just get it in my spots when it's my time and go do my work, then I think he's fine with that. So it's Luka who's going to have to maybe make a little more adjustments to maybe giving it to him a little more or just being more of that facilitator. So that'd be interesting. But I think he played with Harden, and I think Kyrie's going to kind of try to get back in that bag and kind of use those similar experiences. I think he'll be in a lot of those same situations that he was in with Harden. So I think he's going to try to go in that bag and kind of figure it out. And I think Kyrie knows he's coming into Luka's team, so he kind of just has to fit in. And then also I was like, I didn't know why Dallas would do this trade, but then I found out that Dallas also freed up cap space if Kyrie does leave. So you try to re-sign him, let's say. But if he just walks, and I think part of them thinks that's like, okay, we're fine with him just walking because we could go get the superstar that we really wanted to put next to Luka. Like right now, it's like he was the best one available, so let's give it a try. But then in the summer, it's to be like, we have the money, Luka. Who do you want us to go get? And then even on top of that, you can do that and then still maybe exceed the cap to keep Kyrie. So it gives them some options, and I think that's what they like more with the Spencer Dinwiddie and Vinny Smith contract. You have them on the contract for like 2 or 3 more years. You're kind of maxed out. So I think this helps them get better now, but then also frees up some more options in the summer because the team that they had with them at the moment kind of seems like it wasn't going to work, and they were kind of stuck on that for the next few years. So this frees it up. So we're going to try it now. We're all play friendly. If it doesn't work, hey Kyrie, it's been fun. Luka, we got the money. Who you want to go get? And that's kind of better than kind of keeping that team together that they had.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I'm not mad at that at all. I think that that's actually very smart strategically from Mark Cuban and the front office over there. You bring up Harden too, and the thing when Kyrie and Harden played together, Harden was the one that took a step back. Kyrie took a step back in the sense that he was willing to shift to the 2-guard spot and say, hey James, you're our point guard. But Harden was like, all right, I'm gonna be more of a point guard, and we got to see more of his passing skills on display with that and less scoring, and that's what made them look unbeatable at the time. Like I said, it's very hard for me to see Luka Doncic want to take that step back and sacrifice, especially like he played with a Kristaps Porzingis, and I know people are kind of sour on Kristaps Porzingis now, but I remember what that pairing looked like when they first got together. It looked nice, and I feel like a part of the reason why it didn't look nice was because Luka was not going to defer to Kristaps Porzingis a lot. He was gonna say, I'm just, and not that what said, he said, he did it. He went out there and was gonna play his game. He was gonna have the ball in his hands 24/7, and you had a Kristaps Porzingis just kind of standing around, which isn't, that's not how he's gonna be effective playing. So that just kind of gives me worrisome to see how this works out. Could be fun on paper. Again, you kind of want to mimic what they did in Houston with guys like Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook when they were paired up with James Harden. But at the end of the day, you still got to play these guys together for at least 30 minutes. And then there's that question of the last 2 minutes of the game and when things are running down and it's crunch time. Who is getting that shot? Who's going to be the one to take that shot?
Right. That's why I said Luka probably has to adjust his game more, and I think this will work better than maybe than some of those situations because I think, like I said, Kyrie has shown that he doesn't really need to play point guard. He doesn't really need the ball in his hand. He's okay being that two guard kind of Allen Iverson type. Just give me the ball in these spots and I'm gonna go get it. He's not like Chris Paul is really needing the ball to run the offense and get into the stuff. Westbrook obviously needs the ball a little more. Kyrie is like, you give it to me this side and clear out with 5 seconds. I'm gonna go get you a shot. Or we coming off a play, I get it. You can go do whatever. That's what I said. Luka would have to change a little bit because Kyrie's not gonna be able to just stand in the corner like some of these other guys has in these past couple of years. And obviously, that's Luka's game, and he's good and he's great at what he does. But I think he would have to be able to adjust a little bit, and that's why sometimes I think when players are so good, it's just like, hey, go give them the ball, and I think that's good. But I think sometimes it can also hurt because it's like now these players are too used to having the ball, kind of like the James Harden effect. When he doesn't have the ball, he's kind of just standing around, like he's spacing the court, but he's just standing there, spacing the court. He's kind of not ready, or you know what I mean. He's not really a factor when he doesn't have the ball. He's kind of just standing there, and I think that's kind of what happened, like what happens with Luka, kind of in a sense. So we'll see how it works. I think Luka will have to adjust a little more than maybe Kyrie, because Kyrie's kind of been here in this situation before. But we'll see how it goes moving forward.
Yep, first game that we can get to see these guys in action will be at 10 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. If you got League Pass, then definitely should check that out. And, if you're in the Dallas area, turn on your TV and check that out as well. So we'll get our first glimpse of what this duo is going to look like moving forward. So again, that was the first big domino to make this trade deadline as exciting as it was. Going a little bit out of order because we're still focused on the Brooklyn Nets. So the third thing that happened, and it was late last night, I was up just hanging out on my couch. Okay, I don't know if I think you actually were up because I feel like you tweeted about it when it did happen. It's about 1 a.m. over here, 2 a.m. Eastern, so most New Yorkers were probably asleep. The Nets went and pulled the trigger on a deal, and people were over here saying, "I'm tired of seeing the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant on my Twitter feed. It's not happening. It's annoying." But it happened. It happened. Brooklyn sends Kevin Durant and T.J. Warren, and in return they get Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 first-round picks, unprotected, with a 2028 pick swap. Now, for the return, I feel like that's good for Brooklyn. You have a bunch of picks heading to Houston right now. You don't have any control over your own picks until I believe 2027 or after 2027. So you had to do something that was going to keep you afloat. You didn't want to go through that same situation you were in when Sean Marks first took over the job, where you just a terrible team with no way out because Boston had all of your first round picks. And then, little caution to the wind here for people who are Houston Rockets fans. I would pump the brakes a little bit on your excitement about where those picks are landing for you. Because I'm looking at this Nets roster. I like Jacque Vaughn as a head coach. I don't know how do you feel about him, Kay?
I like Jacque Vaughn a lot. You obviously can see the impact that he's had after he's taken over. I think they were under 500, and then they went on to whatever. They were like 20-5 after that or something. So you've seen his effect just taking over. Even the games when KD and Kyrie was there and they lost, the team still kind of. And those guys sat out. you still see how hard the team played and kind of offense they ran and stuff. So I'm a big fan of him. You can kind of see the impact since the change.
100%. I'm with you on that too. Like defense wise, everything. It was a complete 180 from when they were getting coached under Steve Nash. So and like I said, I like Jack Vaughn as a head coach. I think that he can coach this group up. You've got a bunch of very skilled wings. I know a lot of people are complaining about that. You've got a whole lineup full of wings now. But, Mikal Bridges is an ascending player. Cam Johnson, another top tier young talent. Cam Thomas is still over there. This guy, every time he goes on the court now, he just scores 40 points. So, you got that as well. Jay Crowder was in this deal, but he was also flipped. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And the Nets still have something here. They still have a group of talented guys. Like, are they championship contenders? No, of course not. You lose Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, then that ship sails. But, especially for like people who are like the Nets are going to fail and Houston Rockets fans who might think, oh, we're going to get 2 lottery picks now. I would just pump the brakes on that a little bit. I think that this Nets team can be scrappy. They can still be well coached. And, they could be a team that is like fighting for a play-in spot, possibly. Like, I could still see that from them.
Yeah, definitely. I think they go back into what the team was before Katie and Kyrie get there. They go back into a team with a lot of pieces, a lot of guys that can play different positions and do different things on the court, and you kind of just going to play hard. Kind of to the point I brought up. Jack Vaughn has showed us that he can get guys that play hard even without superstars. So I think and Jack Vaughn was there with that roster that was there before. He has 2 of his guys that were there before, so I think he goes back. The Nets go back into kind of what they were before that made KD and Kyrie want to go there. So I wouldn't just count them out just yet. Obviously, there's no superstar, but a lot of decent role players or players who could maybe be stars without other people there. I expect Spencer Dinwiddie to play really well. Different things like that. They got a lot of defense out there. Ben Simmons may be in a situation that everyone's been begging for him to be in. He's going to be there with a whole bunch of shooters around him, different guys that play defense and different things like that. So we see if maybe this unlocks Ben Simmons' game a little more. The pressure's not there to kind of win a championship or be in contention or anything like that. So we'll see how that goes. And then they have a little bit of a head start. I expect Miami, obviously, they've been playing well to come up. The Cavs are right there, maybe jump them or so. But they have a little head start, so where maybe they sneak in at that 6th seed or they host a play-in game for the first 2 rounds or so. So they have a head start, solid pieces. I don't expect them to just fall off the cliff at this moment, now unless they just plan on going into full tank mode. Think they got some guys that play hard, come out there. Cam Thomas is giving you 40 whenever you need them to. So I think they're still going to be out there playing hard, and they have a little head start, so they should be good for the rest of this year. And which I think they kind of looked at that. They're like, hey, we don't have that pick this year. Let's kind of just go for it, go for the playoffs or whatever. And if anything, we'll rebuild in the summer. We'll trade some of these pieces away and try to get a couple first-round picks later or second-round picks for these guys. But we don't have any picks this year, so it makes no sense to full rebuild right now when we got some pieces that can kind of keep us in here. We'll host the playoff round, be fun or whatever. And it's funny, Josiah had made the comment that this was like last year or a year or 2 ago when he first got this year. I think it was like after the playoffs last year, sometime during the summer. He was like, I'd rather a team that's going to come out every day and play hard than have superstars or something like that. So, I mean, he got his wish, and we'll see how far it takes him.
Yeah, I think a lot of them were just kind of tired of the media circus that you're in New York, so that's a media circus in itself. And then you've got these superstar players, future Hall of Famers on your team that are just in the news for everything that's not basketball related. That can kind of get a little frustrating. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. I think like the Nets, I just think that they're going to be okay. Like, people are kind of poo-pooing on them right now and whatnot about how much of a failure this is. Like, like extreme failure, but one of the biggest in not NBA history, sports history, and it is. It absolutely is. But if you just take a second to step back and look at the situation, Sean Marks, I tweeted it the other day, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie wasn't one of his draft picks, but those two guys, Nick Claxton, Cam Thomas, none of these guys were first round picks, but they're all quality NBA talents. Like Sean Marks has an eye for talent, and this was him making these picks with outside the first round. Just imagine what he could do once he's able to draft into the first round. That's one. The other key thing here, you mentioned Ben Simmons. I don't know what Brooklyn is going to do with Ben Simmons in the offseason. We have not seen great basketball from Ben Simmons this year. He had a small stint where he looked back and kind of went back to earth. It was a whole year that he didn't play basketball and he had a back injury. You got to give him some time. We know that, since he's been in the league, he's never missed the playoffs as an active player. He's been an all-star just about every year that he's been active. And he's one of the top defensive players in the league when healthy. So you give him some time to kind of adjust to being back in the game, get him some good coaching, good pieces. This could end up being something where we go from saying the Brooklyn Nets are done to, right now we're kind of saying we think that they can be a team that hosts a play-in game. To next year, they're a middle of the pack Eastern Conference team because Ben Simmons is back playing the way that he should be, and they have a bunch of nice pieces around him. And then we're talking about finding somebody to pair with Ben Simmons because you got the assets back in the KD trade.
Right, and that's why I said this is a situation that a lot of people wanted to see Ben Simmons in. A lot of people, and I think Mike said this, that they felt like he would excel if he was in a situation like Giannis that was kind of built around him with a whole bunch of shooters that opens the paint for him. And obviously, like you said, he missed last year and a back injury and things like that. That's why I said right now, I think they kind of got to just roll with what they got and see what they got. I think the rest of this season is going to be see what we have here and see what we can get out of Ben Simmons and see if this is something that's going to be positive moving forward or if maybe he just lost it or whatever the case may be. So they're going to try to figure this out. And then there's a lot of those pieces they can trade after the season's over where some teams didn't win it and they want to upgrade. Vinny Smith is a defender that a lot of contenders are going to want. Spencer Dinwiddie is someone that I can see contenders going after. So they have pieces still to trade to get a couple things for a couple guys. Joe Harris, Seth Curry, those type of guys. So I think he's going to play the rest of this out and kind of, like I said, they probably figure we don't have a draft pick this year. Might as well not go for a rebuild, see if we can keep ourselves in the playoffs and figure it out this summer, but they're kind of put in a tight situation with only a few days to kind of figure it out. So just kind of move forward and see what we got, see if we can get the best out of Ben Simmons, and either keep him moving forward or look at trade him. But I think
For sure.
They did good with the Phoenix trade. They got back 4 unprotected first-round picks, which is good. They got back Markel Bridges, which is good. Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson. So they got some young talent. A lot of picks, unprotected picks, so that they should be good going forward. And they still got, like I said, some guys you can get some couple first and second round picks for.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were shocked that they weren't, the asking price, that Phoenix was able to do this deal without having to give up Devin Booker or Chris Paul or anything. Well, I don't think that Brooklyn wanted Chris Paul, but that they were able to do this without having to give up a guy like Devin Booker for Kevin Durant. But even like with that being said, I think that you got close to, if not equal value for Kevin Durant. The 4 first-round picks are everything, but you can keep Mikal Bridges over there. Like that, it seems like that's a guy that they want to keep over there and, really make something happen. Now, on the Phoenix side of things, you get Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. This is now championship or bust. You get Kevin Durant. You were a team that went to the NBA Finals 2 years ago. You were the best team in basketball all of last year up until the playoffs when you melted down. It is go time. It is championship or bust. It does not matter who else is in the West. You got Kevin Durant, who the Nets were 17-1 when he played. You still got Chris Paul, while he's aging, is still high caliber of a point guard. Hell of a young player in Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton, who's probably should be excited that this move happened because now the attention is completely off you to be able to do whatever it is that you need to do to be successful in this offense. Now the attention is shifted to Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, where you can kind of you can kind of just play your game at this point. So, this one put a shock through all of us, right? But it makes for an exciting thing. And I just want to say this: I'm seeing people talk about super teams again. The Phoenix Suns are no doubt title contenders. This is not a super team. The DeAndre Ayton, they were out on him for a reason. The thoughts around the league are that he's not going to be a part of this franchise once they're able to trade him. And then Chris Paul is clearly, while he can still play at a nice level, he's not the Chris Paul of old. Last year he started to take his decline, and it's still showing since, which is why his name was another name that was in trade rumors throughout the season before the trade deadline. So I don't believe that this is a super team by any stretch. But with that being said, this is still a title contender in my eyes.
Yeah, I think because it's mid-season, obviously it's tough. Kind of, I don't think KD's ever been traded mid-season, so it's mid-season. So you kind of got to throw these things together. You lost a lot of pieces to help you get to the championship. Devin Booker has missed some time, so I think for it being mid-season, it's kind of tough. But I think going forward, it's definitely a super team. I think Brian Windhorst came out and said that look for Kyrie to try to make his move over there too, because he was interested a lot in Phoenix, and maybe those guys aren't done playing together. He'll be a free agent this summer. They can trade Ayton this summer. Chris Paul's declining. Phoenix, there's been rumors about Phoenix saying that they know Chris Paul's declining. It's time for a new point guard. So watch out for that there. So I could agree with you right now, but I think people are looking at it like going forward. This is still a team that'll be here for the next at least 2 to 3 years, because KD still has a few years in him. And if you add Kyrie, that makes it even crazier. Whoever else they add this summer, whether you trade Ayton for another superstar or whatever the case may be. So I think going forward, people are looking at like this is a super team going forward. When they add that extra piece, it's only a matter of time, it seems like. Because this team is not complete. It's mid-season. You traded a lot. There's going to be a lot of things they do this summer to get better.
Right. And, I didn't disagree with your point last night about the lacking in defense, but I think you even get a guy like TJ Warren over there. They've got a solid team, and TJ Warren's the guy that's going to be coming off the bench for them. So the scoring is definitely going to be there, and that's definitely something that matters. I don't know how much I agree with Wendy, because I think Wendy also said that he believes that Kyrie still wants to go to LA. So make up your mind. But
I think things change. You know what they say, once the facts change, so does my opinion. I think he was all in on LA, and then KD's in Phoenix, and it's like, oh, okay.
I think Kyrie. I think he doesn't. I think he doesn't know what he wants to do. I think he's gonna do his thing in Dallas, and obviously it's gonna be those two teams. I don't think that the door is shut on LA either.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Obviously, like you said, I don't think he knows what he wants to do right now. But you're saying just watch out for Phoenix. I think Phoenix is on his radar now. I think they can probably offer him more money than the Lakers can this summer. I mean, Lakers free up some cap space now with the trades that they did today, which is why they made them. But we'll see how it goes. But I wouldn't count Phoenix out of it.
For sure. Now before the big KD news came out, we had a huge deal that kind of made its rounds about like an hour before that. So I think this happened around 12 a.m. my time. Might have been 1 a.m. Not too late. And it was a 3-team deal between the Los Angeles Lakers, the Utah Jazz, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Lakers traded Russell Westbrook over to the Utah Jazz. And the Utah Jazz sending Mike Conley to Minnesota, as well as Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the cousin of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And the Lakers are getting D'Angelo Russell back, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. So D'Angelo Russell gets to go back to where it all started, with the team that drafted him. And I think that what happened here in this 3-team deal works out for all parties. Russell Westbrook is going to get bought out. We know that. He's not playing in Utah. We know the history he has with Utah. That's not happening. Utah's able to get Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, and a first-round pick to continue continue to try and keep this thing going that they got like surrounding these young guys around marking in and whatever happens there. And Minnesota gets Mike Conley, who's a floor general and a guy that had a great pick and roll going with Rudy Gobert. So you're able to pair them back up and hopefully get something out of that. Um, on the Lakers side, and the Lakers also traded Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant requested a trade because he wasn't happy with the minutes that he was getting after AD came back and whatnot. And they were able to get Mo Bamba from Orlando for Patrick Beverly, who's probably going to get bought out. So the Lakers kind of did what me and you talked about last show, which was that they were going to probably have to just reshape the roster, similar to what the Cavs did in 2018. Now, people are complaining about, do they have enough time to build chemistry? I think that they'll be fine. Are they going to be in sync like they should be? Maybe not, but I think that they'll be fine enough to be able to make a run at either the play-in or a lower seed in the playoffs. And then you just take your time from there. But to me, D'Lo is perfect for what you want to do here. You're bringing scoring in, with him and Malik Beasley. And he just kind of fits in better. He's shooting better. You bring in the shooting, which is something that this team desperately needed, and it's a move where it's like, all right, we'll see what happens, and if we want to keep D'Lo here and give him money, we can do that. And if not, then he was able to help us in the short term.
Yeah. Obviously, people thought Westbrook had to get out of there just for obviously what happened over the last year or so. But I think this is another situation that had to kind of do with money. I think I was watching one of ESPN's podcasts, and the guy broke it down that if the Lakers kept Westbrook and Patrick Beverly through the rest of this year and didn't trade him and get anything for him or free up cap space, they would, like, that $90 million that they take up would only result in like 30 million. I think they'll still be over the cap at the time. So they kind of had to trade those guys. If they wasn't winning, who knows about what's going on in the locker room. There's a lot of reports now about Westbrook and stuff like that. I think reporters just trying to kick him in when he's down. So
Yeah.
you don't want to get into that stuff too much. But really, it's like a money thing. They kind of had to do that because if you keep those guys, you lose them this summer, and then you still don't have enough money to go out and get other pieces. So now they've freed up some cap space to give Kyrie some more money and things like that, so they can be in a play this summer. But obviously, Russell Westbrook, like you say, he's not going to stay in Utah. We highly doubt that's going to happen. He'll be bought out. Obviously, we've seen the Clippers, the Heat, so we'll see what decision he makes and kind of where that goes moving forward. D'Lo, maybe playing with Bron and AD will be a little better for him, and he hasn't been bad over the years, but last year in the playoffs, he wasn't that good. He just hasn't been the player he was kind of a few years ago, so I don't know if he's on a decline or whatever the case may be, but obviously he's a better shooter in his ability to face the floor. He can pass. He's not a bad passer, so I think they do upgrade there. Obviously, getting Obama, he's a big that can block and stretch the floor and different things like that. But I think all this is really about freeing up cap space. They're going to try to make a run for it this year, but I think this is kind of freeing up cap space for them to kind of move forward. For the Timberwolves, I like them getting Mike Conley. They kind of, like I said, I think they were kind of over the D'Lo thing, and they were kind of just ready for the point guard. So I think getting him over there as a veteran who's kind of been there, played in some big playoff games. Obviously, in Utah this last year, he kind of wasn't really playing for anything, but I think Mike Conley's always been a real serviceable point guard. And actually, if I was the Lakers, I would probably rather Mike Conley right now than D'Lo, but maybe that's just me. And then, that's kind of what I think about the trade. It's kind of fair for each side. I think Minnesota gets that point guard that they want. Lakers free some cap space and get better for the rest of the season. And Westbrook is free and he can kind of go where he wants.
Yeah, I think this is probably the best job I've seen from Rob Pelinka since he took over, outside of being able to get Anthony Davis over there to begin with. I mean, they needed shooting. This is a team that that was like one of the biggest things that we kept talking about with them, is that they lack shooting and they needed it, especially in with the way that the NBA is today. D'Lo gives you that. Malik Beasley gives you that. You know, although it's gonna be a little awkward with Beasley and Scottie Pippen Jr. on the same team, but you know they'll work that out. And yeah, like I think it's being able to flip Beverly from Mo Bamba. I don't know. You know, the Lakers just keep poaching centers from the Orlando Magic, but it's whatever. And I don't know. They kind of plugged in everything that they needed to plug in here. You needed a backup big. Obviously, Thomas Bryant wasn't happy. Mo Bamba's not going to. I feel like have the same issues that Thomas Bryant had as far as what his playing time is and what his role is on this team. And change of scenery is just good sometimes. Like I think it could be good for D'Lo, where we can kind of see him get back to what he was in Brooklyn. And from Obama, who kind of was starting to fall in the shuffle of the Orlando Magic a little bit. And yeah, you know, I feel like this Lakers team is like I don't think that they're a championship contender, but after these moves, I feel pretty good about the Lakers' chances of getting into the postseason right now.
Yeah, they get a little younger, they get better shooting, and they get deeper as a team. I think if you look at that roster, uh, they had some players, but they wasn't really like maybe players making that big of an impact type of thing. So now they got deeper, better defensively. It looks like shooting, so they got better. So we'll see how it goes moving forward.
Jakob Poeltl sent back to the Raptors from the Spurs. The Raptors are kind of all in on this. You know, we heard all the rumors about OG Anunoby possibly getting moved and where his value's at, especially with the Durant moves and things like that. He doesn't get moved. They stand pat with their core. Fred VanVleet does not get moved as well. And then they bring back Jakob Poeltl, a guy that they drafted and developed. So they kind of know where their guy's value is at the moment after taking some phone calls and things like that. To me, it feels like they might make moves this summer, but you know they're not. It seems like they're not totally waving the red flag here, or the white flag. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think they're gonna try to get into the playoffs and be in playoff contentions. And when you have LeBron, that's all you need. You need to get into the playoffs and take your chances and see how it goes. Obviously, the West got a lot better today, and teams seem a lot tougher. But when you have LeBron, you have AD, you just get into the playoffs. And LeBron always said, "I just need to get in," and I always feel like I have a chance. And I'm gonna feel like they have a chance. I don't know if they make it all the way to the finals with how the tough the West is, but I can see them upsetting somebody in the first round. I know Memphis probably doesn't want to play them as much as I love Memphis. Probably don't want to run into LeBron. The Nuggets, I wouldn't be confident in the Nuggets if they ran into LeBron. So, just got to get it.
For sure. I don't know if John Moran regrets saying that he's good in the West. It's kind of been all downhill since he made those comments. But you know, some other things that happened here. We mentioned Jakob Poeltl to the Raptors, Mike Muscala to the Celtics. It's a big move for the Celtics and their championship hopes. You know, Moose has stepped up big for Oklahoma City. I think that's going to be a really really nice plug-in for the Celtics.
Yeah, you get another big so that can space the floor. You can never have too much shooting, so there's not too much to say about that. Yeah, I think they got better. I think they got more shooting, so shout out to them. Someone else can space the floor for JT and Jalen Brown.
Jay Crowder to the Bucks. We mentioned that earlier. He goes from Phoenix to Brooklyn, then flipped over to the Bucks, and that's pretty much what the Bucks have been looking for. You know, bringing him back. He was a part of their championship run a couple years ago, and you know he gives it to you on the defensive end and on the offensive end. He's almost like a 3-and-D. So
Yeah, I think that's a good move for the Bucks. I think he feels that PJ Tucker role. He's kind of the same type of player as PJ Tucker, tough guy, knock down some shots. My only concern with him is he hasn't been playing all season. He's not a young guy. He's gonna have to hit the ground running and get there and be ready to go and get back in basketball shape and kind of catch up. You hope that all comes together by the time he gets to the playoffs, but I think it'll be tough for him kind of just walking right off the street onto the NBA court, especially at the upper age that he's at. So it's a good move. I think it'll work out. He's just going to need some time to kind of get back in shape and get the ball running. Like I said, I think he feels that PJ Tucker role.
Yeah, a shocking one to me. The Sixers moved on from Matisse Thybulle, sent him over to the Blazers in a three-team deal with the Charlotte Hornets. I didn't really know what to make of that. I thought Matisse Thybulle was a core piece for them. Obviously, one of their better defenders, which you need. And yeah, I like Matisse Thybulle as a player. It just I don't know. I didn't really. I feel like I heard his name in talks, but it wasn't something that I expected.
Yeah, now I heard his name in talks. I figured that he'll be moved. I don't know why, like you said, he's a defender that they need, but it seems like over the last this season, kind of they were kind of over and kind of ready to move forward. So I heard his name in kind of a lot of trade rumors. I think the Blazers got better today, so shout out to the Blazers, defensive guys. So I think someone that Chauncey Billups will like. So we'll see how it goes for them moving forward too.
George Hill back with the Indiana Pacers. He gets sent over there from Milwaukee. The Bucks also sent Serge Ibaka to the Pacers. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Well, I'm sorry, he's gonna be a free agent here because he is expected to be waived by the Pacers. So that's another one to look out for. Um, they I don't know what exactly does George Hill being moved to Indiana do for them other than it's a nostalgic piece for you.
I think obviously he's been there before, like you said, nostalgic piece for them. But I think that's a young team out there. They're close to being in the playoffs in that play-in type of situation. I think he comes, brings you a veteran in that locker room to help you with games down the stretch. I don't know how much he was playing for the Bucks, but I think they bring him in to be that veteran for this young team, someone that can help Halliburton get better and those type of guys, and still come in and spare you some minutes and calm the guys down in those tight games when you need them to. And if you get into the playoffs, he's someone who has a lot of playoff experience and just playoff experience in Indiana in general. So that's someone you bring in as that veteran leader guy to come help these guys on this playoff run.
Like we said, Thomas Bryant is getting moved to the Denver Nuggets. It's a backup, a nice backup for Jokic to have. He'll have a bit of a bigger role over there, and that definitely helps out their championship aspirations. The Clippers. The Clippers. Here's what happened. The Clippers saw the KD trade to Phoenix, and one of the biggest pros to having a team owner a team owner like Steve Ballmer is that you can make moves without any repercussions. He's willing to spend and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win. So what did they do? The Clippers bring in Bones Highland. They brought in Eric Gordon, Luke Kennard, or they brought in Eric Gordon, moved John Wall and Luke Kennard. They traded Reggie Jackson and probably going to sign Russell Westbrook. It seems in free agency. Coming up here after he gets bought out by the Utah Jazz. When I looked at what the Clippers did, all I'm saying is this: they're ready. They're ready to win. You've got a great coach in Ty Lue. You've got all-time talents in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Eric Gordon goes back to where it all started, which he needed a reset. He was just kind of wasting away there in Houston with what they're doing with those young guys, and obviously he can help a championship contender right now. And then if things come to fruition with Westbrook, you got the point guard that you need to kind of run this offense. I think that Russ has already shown us, and we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but who cares? Russ has already shown us that he can kind of step back, do what needs to be done for the sake of the team with what he was doing with the Lakers this year. And we also have seen him play with Paul George. So I think off the trades that they also brought in Mason Plumlee. So off the trades that they made today and what is possibly happening in the future, the Clippers are definitely going to be a team to look out for to come out of the West.
Yeah, like you said, they probably seen that KD traded and figured that obviously they've been on this path for a couple of years now, and they figured that the time maybe now, time you might be running out of time. See, other teams are getting better and things like that. So I like the Eric Gordon move. He's been in Houston for a while now since kind of James Harden left, and he kind of been on none. He's been a good veteran for them, but a solid piece, especially in that six-man role. We've seen what he did with those Rockets all those years. So he's someone that can come in, stretch the floor for them, and get his own bucket besides kind of PG. And they traded away all their point guards, but they got Bones Holland. I think he's a streaky shooter. He's someone who can be hot one day. He's one of those guys that can win you a playoff game. It'd be a random game 3 at home, and he goes off 420. So I think he's that type of guy. So that's always good to have that firepower off your bench, especially him with Everett Gordon. And then, like you said, if you bring in Westbrook, he it seems like he can slide right into that starting spot. They'll have shooting around him with PG, Kawhi, Markieff Morris. So maybe that'd be a better situation for him where he can kind of get back to the Houston days when he's playing in the paint a lot. And just for the rest of the season, Kawhi and PG aren't going to play every game. So you have another guy when it's maybe just PG or maybe just Kawhi. And I know him and PG have that chemistry. I'm just interested to see how him and Kawhi would work together. But let's see how it goes moving forward. If Westbrook gets bored out, I think that'd be a great spot for him. But let's see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm just pretty pumped up about that one. Here's one that I know you liked, and I kind of like it because I'm all in on some of these young teams. That in a 3-team deal, the Pistons traded Sadiq Bey over to what was supposed to be to the Warriors, and the Warriors moved him in the 3-team deal to Atlanta. They sent James Wiseman to the Detroit Pistons. And all it took was a couple second-round picks.
Yeah, I like the move for Detroit. I think what Troy Weaver has been doing over there since he got over there, we know he's always had an eye for talent, whether it was in Syracuse with Carmelo, whether it's in OKC with KD and those type of guys. We always know he had an eye for talent. Just what he's been doing over there in Detroit since he got there. So I think him getting Wiseman is just another piece to the puzzle that he's trying to build. Obviously, they got Jalen Durant, just Duran. So he's been playing well this season. So we'll see how kind of what you do with those two guys. But I like the move for Detroit. I'm a believer in wherever Troy Weaver is cooking. If he thinks it's a good deal, I think it's a great deal. So there's that. On the Warriors side of things, it's kind of interesting. Obviously, they're giving up on Wiseman a little earlier. I seen that if they traded him, they would save a lot of money, but then they bring back Gary Payton Jr., so I don't think they save as much money. So it was kind of a thing where maybe they kind of just thought like it's time for a restart, and obviously trying to play that big center position kind of is not the path they're going to go. I think they're probably fine with Mooney and Draymond at those positions. So free up some cap space and kind of let that guy go. And you bring back Gary Payton Jr., someone they loved last year as a defender. Obviously, Steph is going to miss some time now. So Clay, with all his injuries, he's slowing down a little bit. Wiggins has missed a lot of games this year. And then obviously Poole's not great of a defender. So you get another defender at that guard spot when you're going up against the Devin Bookers and the Kawhis and those type of things in the Western Conference. So you kind of get rid of a big that you wasn't using and maybe has some potential. But they're kind of in win now mode, and I guess they'll kind of start rebuilding after maybe Curry and them are gone. But you figure they got a couple more years, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the Warrior. It's interesting too because when I immediately thought of what you brought up with the Warriors' success was kind of having these veterans that played defense and whatnot, and it was hurting them this season because they didn't have that. So with the moves that they made today, it seems like they're kind of getting back to that a little bit. And then on Detroit's side of things, I feel like them in Houston just have a ton of young talent that they just kind of need to cultivate. You got Jaden Ivey that you just drafted as your 2 guard. You've got you still got sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. So you got Jaden Ivey.
You got Cade Cunningham.
Cade Cunningham, Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, you got Bagley.
Um,
Jalen Durant.
Jalen Duran, and then you're adding the number 2 overall pick in the draft from 2 years ago in James Wiseman. That's a ton of young talent over there. And I like Cade Cunningham a lot. I think he's a point guard. I love, we had heard rumors that you know, Troy Weaver was very torn on whether he was going to draft Cade Cunningham or Jalen Green, and then he goes against Jaden Ivey the next year. So you kind of get a version of Jalen Green to pair along with Cade Cunningham, and then these other lottery picks that you got a lot of high hopes for. So I would just say watch out for what Detroit might do in the next year or two. I think that they still got a lot of deals to be made. It doesn't seem to me like Troy Weaver wants to keep waiting for this thing to rebuild. It seems like he's very confident in the young pieces that he has right now, and he's getting ready to put some vets around them and see if he can start competing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you said, I think he's kind of just stacking his talent, especially now that they're not good. You kind of stack your talent and see who's gonna be what. You see what you got, and then, like you said, surround them with some veterans. Maybe trade some of them off for some veterans, but you stack the young talent now while you're not winning, so you give them a chance to showcase their talent, and then you kind of look and see, okay, this person can affect winning this way, this person that, and then you kind of trade the other ones for veterans. So, like I said, I believe he has a track record that I believe in, and I think it was a great trade. And anything he kind of puts down, I'm all for it. I don't know what the vision is, but I see it, and I'm a follower.
Right on. Man, the New York Knicks. I want to give some praise to the New York Knicks right now. You know what? I think that the New York Knicks actually had a pretty decent trade deadline. You make the trade to bring in Josh Hart, which kind of lets me know that Tibbs isn't going anywhere because Josh Hart fits exactly what you want out of a Tibbs type of player. He plays hard defense. He can shoot the ball. Does everything that Tibbs wants. So you send out Josh Hart as an aside, and then aside from them being able to get Josh Hart, they just kind of they don't like attack anything huge, but they're still able to upgrade the team in different ways. So like I don't know, man. I kind of like what the Knicks did here.
Yeah, obviously you get Hart, who's always been like a 3 and D type of guy. Brings energy. Definitely a Tibbs guy. You pair him back up with his college teammate and Jalen Brunson. Obviously, not Cam Thompson, Cam Reddish. You guys wasn't using them, so you kind of trade him off and get something back for him. So that's kind of maybe a addition by subtraction type of thing. So obviously they didn't do nothing too crazy, and there was some talks about them being in there for Zach LaVine, but no one knows what that trade will look like. So they didn't do nothing too crazy, and they're having a solid season. They just added a couple pieces that can kind of help them going forward. And I think Hart is someone that could maybe start at that 2, maybe 3 spot for him, definitely. So that's a 3 and D type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard about the Zach LaVine stuff, you had to think R.J. Barrett was going to be in those talks. So that's maybe something you could probably revisit in the summer, especially they've got a left-handed heavy lineup. But you got that, and you talk about Portland. I think Cam Reddish is going to flourish in Portland. That's a kind of free, open offense. Seth Curry revived his career over there. Carmelo added some extra years to his career when he was over there. That might be exactly what they're looking for, and just works out for all sides.
Yeah, he needed a fresh start. So I think under Chauncey Billups, obviously playing with Dame and them, I think if he gets that opportunity, his talent has been there. If you watched him from high school and in college, so his talent is there. He's one of those guys that needs the right fit, the right opportunity. So I wouldn't be too surprised. And like you said, a couple people was able to flourish over there. So I'm sure Billups will put him in the right spot to kind of get the best out of him.
Yeah, for sure. I think one other thing that I wanted to touch on is the Miami Heat and the lack of moves that they didn't make. You get Deadman off your books, which you needed to do, but you couldn't get any takers on Kyle Lowry. We did the show last time where we talked a little bit about going after D'Angelo Russell, really good at getting after that point guard, which they didn't do. And I know a lot of Heat fans are pretty mad that you talk about trying to compete for championships and whatnot, and then you just aren't able to get anything going to improve this team, to get them back to where they were last year, or at least ahead of it. And you're talking about wasting the primes of Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. There is hope though. Like we were talking about Russell Westbrook with the Clippers earlier. Seems the two teams that are going to be chasing after Russ is the Clippers and then also the Miami Heat. And then maybe they want to kick the can or kick the tires a little bit on Serge Ibaka. You need a big over there as well. So there is hope. Are they able to get them? I don't know. I actually have lost a little bit of faith in them pursuing Russell Westbrook with the moves that the Clippers made today. But scare money don't make none. And if you're serious about the things that you say, then the Heat got to go all in on trying to get at least one of these guys.
Right. I think. I Yeah, maybe they just wasn't no trade out there, and they like I said, they've been playing better recently, so maybe they're just gonna kind of roll with what they got, or maybe they feel like there was no trade out there that was gonna put them in contention to kind of jump anybody in the East. So it's kind of didn't really make sense to make a trade to make a trade. I'm not sure what was out there for Kyle Lowry, and obviously his name has been in rumors for a little while now, but I think that's something they're gonna revisit in the summer because it seems like it's just only a matter of time before they split ways. So. We'll see where it goes. I think they're gonna. They still kind of have the same team that made it to Eastern Conference Finals last year. I think they just need to get things rolling. I think they're gonna take their shots in the playoffs and see what just go into the playoffs and take their shots and see who they can kind of upset and move forward. Because I think they probably believe we just need to get healthy and get everybody going for a long stretch of games and go from there. But obviously they're gonna still look into the buyout market and see who's out there because they're always going to look to upgrade kind of where it makes sense.
Let's go ahead and get into biggest winners and losers of the trade deadline before we go and get out of here. I don't know if you agree with this. Biggest winner to me has got to be the Phoenix Suns. You're able to get Kevin Durant, a guy that you coveted since he requested a trade last offseason, and put yourself back in the championship contention when things were looking a little scary for you. It's just a no-brainer for me. They're in a perfect position. They've got one of the best players in the league, one of the best scorers in NBA history, and it's go time.
Yeah, Phoenix obviously has to be a winner. You get Kevin Durant. Their season wasn't going too great. You see how they look without D Book. I just would have liked them to have kept Bridges just for a defensive purpose for them. If they would have kept Bridges to me, I'd have been like, it's championship right now this year. But that's just that's more of me being more of a fan than really saying the real case. But at the end of the day, you get Kevin Durant, so you're a winner. No matter what you have to give up, the 4 first-round picks, obviously, as you see, you can get them back. So who else? I would think the Clippers. I would think the
Yeah, I
Clippers
agree.
are a winner. The
Yeah, I
Babs
agree.
are slightly a winner, even if Kyrie doesn't work out. You free up cap space this summer. I like that for them to kind of be like, hey, Luca, we can go get whoever you want, type of thing. Who you think will fit best next to you. They were locked up on those contracts for the next couple of years, and that team obviously wasn't getting anywhere. The Western Conference Finals was probably their cap to get there last year. So I would. Who else did something? I think those would be my 3 winners for today.
Yeah, I gotta go with Phoenix for sure. I agree with you completely on the Clippers thing. I think that they retooled the pieces that they need so perfectly. Like this Clippers team is just so loaded. When you talk about having Norman Powell, I'm not even talking about the fact that you got a Kawhi Leonard and PG over there. You already had a Norman Powell, and then you bring in Eric Gordon. To continue to improve that shooting. Bones Highland. Mason Plumlee. Like there's just not doesn't seem like there's a hole on this roster at all. And then the cherry on top, like you're letting us know after moving John Wall and Reggie Jackson that you're gonna go get Russell Westbrook. Like I don't know, man. This team, I'm slowly started. Even though I know we said I think the it's championship or bust for the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant over there. The Clippers really could make it. It's if they tool it how they're supposed to, and then they're healthy for what I think that they could be. This team could be scary. You check
Yeah,
every box.
Yeah, definitely. I think they'll be in play for Serge Ibaka too. I think they. Oh, he was with the Clippers before, wasn't
Yeah, he was with them before.
he? Okay. I think Serge goes to Phoenix. That's my guess for Serge. I think him and KD gonna get on that phone. I think he goes to Phoenix. They can use him at that power forward spot. Uh,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Uh, yeah, yeah, definitely. I think the Clippers got better. Obviously, like they've been on this path for a while now. Eventually, this door can't be open for forever. Eventually, they have to turn this into wins and turn it into a championship. So they seem like after today's news that maybe it's like a wake up call that hey, we can't just play around and lollygag this whole time, and people are coming, and it just got a lot tougher. So I think Portland. I want to give Portland a shout out. They didn't get better in a sense where they're going to be in playoff. I mean, be in championship contention. But I think getting Cam Reddish, getting Matisse Thybulle, I think getting those pieces make them a better team today than what they were yesterday. It's not going to be a difference maker or mover, but I think they got better. So I want to
the
give Portland a shout out to them.
the Cam Reddish trade is gonna be one that kind of goes a little under the radar, but I think that is probably one of the diamonds in the rough if we're talking about trades and who got the best of what. Because I think very highly of Cam Reddish. I've been on the free Cam Reddish train all year and then last year too. I think the guy can score the heck out of the ball when you give him his opportunities. It made no sense to me that he was just kind of buried on the bench with the Knicks, and he could be the running mate that Dame has been looking for. So I'll throw them in there as well as winners because they made a lot of moves and they're definitely looking solid to me.
Yeah, those are my winners.
Losers, I gotta go with the Miami Heat as one of them. I don't know how you couldn't get anything done. You didn't have to bring a superstar back, but you could something. You needed to get something done. You know, that's you're coming off an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. You're a team that is looked at as still should be competing in the East. So I'm putting them in there. I'm putting the Chicago Bulls in there. Another team that not probably should have done something and didn't do anything. No trades to get rid of anybody. Nothing. The Cavs, who were on a hot streak. You were the talk of the season early, getting Donovan Mitchell over there. You're seeing what all these other teams are doing. I don't know how you don't make a deal as well. So even though the Cavs are going to be a playoff team and whatnot, this could come back to bite them. So I'm going to throw them in this as well.
Uh, I think the Bulls have to be in there. Their season hasn't been going great. Obviously, we didn't know if they were going to blow it up, but I think they kind of maybe needed to do something there. Uh, I think the Nets got a lot for KD, and I like it what they got, and they're going to be good moving forward. But you're a loser just for the fact that you lose KD and Kyrie, and you go from championship contention to rebuilding. You put yourself in a great spot in your rebuilding spot, so you're kind of like you're in the middle. You're not like a loser, but you're like slightly a loser. You know what I mean? So I'm their honorable mention.
Nets are definitely honorable mention a loser.
Because you just pay Kyrie your money, you go for it for the rest of the season. Maybe you trade him and KD in the summer, whatever the case may be. Anyways, but if you give him his money, you still have KD right now. What that's worth. I think this the way the season was going. You kind of take those chances and go for it, or you call his bluff and keep him, and just go out the rest of the season and try to win it. Other losers. I think I think that's it for me right now. I think everyone there was like Toronto probably could have made a trade, but there's no trades out there that kind of. I guess Charlotte's gonna buy Reggie Jackson out. I think Charlotte. I'm not gonna say Charlotte. Charlotte's in there for the #1 pick. That's where they're at right now. Toronto kind of they didn't really need to make a trade. They can kind of wait until the summer. Their season is what it is right now. Yeah, those are my losers.
Some low key winners. I think the Detroit Pistons and the Houston Rockets were some low key winners today. The Houston Rockets finally got off Eric Gordon's contract. We talked about that. And aside from that, you brought in Danny Green. You know, everybody's talking so much about how Kevin Porter.
They're saying Danny Green's gonna be on the buyout market.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't.
Was that an official thing? I know some people were speculating it, but has anybody said that's going to be the case?
nothing's really official right now. Everything's kind of speculation.
I haven't heard anybody say anybody like Woj or Shams or Bagley or anybody like that say that he's going to be a buyout market contender, or even like Kelly Iko, who covers the Houston Rockets for the Athletic. I haven't heard anything from them saying that
I would
he's a
figure.
buyout candidate. I know other people have said it, but I haven't seen that.
I figured, well, I guess it'd be good for them to keep him. They need a veteran and stuff like that around there, but he he's trying to win. So I think he's I think, and I guess that's what everyone else is doing. That he'll be on the buyout market. Obviously, if they can keep him as a good veteran for them to kind of get in there, but we don't know how much of a difference he was making for those guys in Memphis. So, but hey,
Well, if he
they
ends
still
up
got those veterans there.
if he ends up staying there, it's not about him making a difference. A lot of people in the last couple of months have kind of went at the Houston Rockets in terms of they need vets over there to teach these guys how to play. Like Jalen Green is a supreme talent, but he doesn't really know how to play in this league. Kevin Porter Jr. is extremely talented. He doesn't really know how to play in this league. Jabari Smith Jr. doesn't really know how to play in this league. So they needed to bring in vets to kind of take these guys under their wings because none of them have actually had that. And I feel like Danny Green kind of fits the mold a little bit if he ends up staying over there. So I'll throw them as like low key winners in this, especially finally being able to get what you wanted for Eric Gordon and to continue to kind of build this thing up. Where it seems like now the Houston Rockets have Brooklyn's picks for the next couple years, and it could be a thing where it's like, all right, we're gonna see how things unfold in this draft where we're at. If we can get Victor Wembanyama or not, maybe we'll go and get Scoot Henderson with the second overall pick. We'll see. And then afterwards, start using those picks to flip them and then bringing these vets in to kind of start moving forward with where you want to be as a team. And then I feel the same way about the Detroit Pistons because it's like, we have the young pieces and we're not ready. We don't want to be a rebuilding team. We want to get ready to start building this thing up to start competing. And they made the requisite moves to do that today.
Yeah, I would see. I think the Rockets are still kind of a little ways away, so we'll see what veterans kind of they can get over there. It's kind of like what we were saying about Detroit about how you kind of have the talent. Now it's time to get those veterans around those guys so they can start winning now. So I think Danny Green will just help them be more professional, and he can help them on the court if he does get on the court and play. But I think they'll need a couple more veterans around those guys too. So we'll see how it goes moving forward. And I think Detroit is a winner too. Obviously, like I said, stacking the extra talent, and like I said, I'm a believer in Troy Weaver. So yeah, he's stacking that talent over
I'll give you another loser, the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know why you got rid of Danny Green.
there. Yeah,
I don't know how.
yeah. I say I don't know either. I'm actually gonna agree with you there. I think Memphis is a loser. They obviously, I'm big on Memphis. So you get Luke Kennard, who's a young guy who can space the floor and stuff. But I think come playoff time, you have a guy who wants three. Who won 3 championships. He's been there, done that. He can help you guys. A veteran leadership. He can go. He's a defender, 3-and-D player. So I think when it comes down to it, come playoff time, I think they'll miss Danny Green. Luke Kennard would be a good piece, but I think they'll miss Danny Green more.
Yeah, they just didn't really do anything to move the needle when you're trying to compete, especially after the year that they had last year. It's like, all right, we think you're gonna ascend now after you went very competitive against the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs, but it seems like they're kind of making a turn for the wrong direction. So kind of got to throw them in that loser category.
Right, because even after last year, they decided to go younger instead of getting more veterans around these guys. You get let Kyle Anderson walk and things like that. So you got younger, and then with this trade today, you got younger again. So you're kind of leaning on John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. to be your veterans in these locker rooms. So I think, and even not even just the locker room on the court. Like I said, Danny Green would have helped them on the court, 3-and-D type of guys. So I do think they're a loser for that. I think they should be getting veterans around these guys. Not even help them off the court or anything like that. They need some veteran on the court that's been through some of these playoff moments, especially because the West is about to get tough. Or the West is
Uh,
tough.
let's go back to the Phoenix Suns for a second before we get out of here. I just seen from Chris Haynes, Reggie Jackson might be another addition to the Phoenix Suns.
I was thinking about that as a backup point guard. My initial reactions, it's cool. It's cool. Obviously, he's an upgrade over Cameron Payne. Uh, a little younger to help CP. Obviously, you think CP's getting a little older, so it helps. It helps. Like I said, if you get him and Serge Ibaka, I think it helps them a lot. They need to kind of fill in those role player spots a little bit.
All right, man. We'll definitely keep this thing monitored. I know John Wall was just notified by the Rockets that he is being waived, so he's a guy that teams are going to be looking for to get. Russell Westbrook, obviously, going to be coveted by a couple teams, championship contenders and just playoff contenders alike. And man, what a day! What a day! Shout out to Woj. Woj heard all the comments last year, and he came back and took it in blood.
I did hear some people saying John Wall to Phoenix. I don't like that one.
Me either.
I think Reggie Jackson would be a better fit than John Wall. Let's see if John Wall ends up back in Washington. They need a
Really?
point guard badly.
What's the thinking there?
They need a point guard badly. They've needed a point guard all season. They need a point guard really, really badly. I mean, obviously you got Kendrick Nunn. He's been looking like he robbed
Kendrick Nunn's back, baby.
like he robbed the Lakers for that year and a half. But they need a point guard. It'd be a heartfelt story to bring the guy back, and obviously him and Bradley Beal still have that relationship. And he since he left, he didn't want to leave, and since he's left, he's been talking about how much he loved it there. So I think just a reunion for them would be perfect. They don't have a point guard. I mean, not of his caliber.
For sure. Obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff coming through the airwaves after we get off. We're definitely going to be monitoring that. The NBA is back in full effect with the trade deadline hitting. We got the All-Star game coming up, so we'll be giving you guys some stuff on that. But of course, big game this Sunday. Make sure you guys are tuned in. We certainly will. We're taking the Chiefs on this side. Kay, you got anything before we get out of here?
Everybody be safe this weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Once again, it's Kay, it's Rich. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.